G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the Freo Faithful channel. Today we are joined by Chris from the OPPO View to preview the Richmond game at Gather Round. Chris, thanks for joining us on the channel. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk some footy. How are you?
Good, mate. Yourself. Thanks for having us on. Much appreciated. You did have a very good win against the Bulldogs. You must have been pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, it was good to beat a decent side, and your former superstar, Shea Bolton, really burst onto the scene for us in that game. Nearly took an absolute screamer on Roy Lobb's head. Our midfield got back to its best against the Doggies, the pressure around the contest. And yeah, our forwards got the rewards on the scoreboard. We had a massive second quarter and really sort of grabbed the lead from there and held on. So it was a really good win.
Yeah, look, like in Shea Bolton, we do miss him dearly, and straight off the bat, I'll be bitterly disappointed if any Richmond supporter boos him. Zero need for it. He left for family reasons, and he should be lauded and applauded for having his time at the footy club, and we always wish him all the best. But he did look good. He looked dangerous. He scares me this weekend because I don't think we've got a matchup.
Yeah, I wonder if he kicks a goal, does he celebrate? Does he play it down? I do like the respect when former players go to their old teams and don't celebrate, but we'll see. Yeah, he's coming into good form. He had a bit of an injury-interrupted preseason, so he's bouncing back now, and we're seeing the Shea that you guys got to appreciate for so long coming into. He's already in his prime, but yeah, he's the exact player that we needed. Yeah, I think so. Because we ended up getting Murphy Reid out of that deal as well. It came across as 3 first rounders for Shea Bolton, but we got one of yours back just later down the line, which ended up being pick 17. So effectively, we've got Murphy Reid and Shea Bolton, who are our 2 best half forwards at the moment. So happy days on both sides, I think.
Tell you what, Murphy Reid's been ultra impressive. That game, I think it was in Geelong where he kicked 4 goals or 3 goals in a quarter in about 4 minutes, really. He's taken to the game really well. He's been super impressive.
That game was good in a patch, but the last sort of 3 weeks, he has, every time he gets the ball, it turns to gold. The decision making. I've started hearing comparisons to Toby Green, which he doesn't look like a Toby Green, but his toughness and his ability to beat opponents one-on-one. Keep an eye out for this kid. It's him and Lawler for the Rising Star at the moment. How are your young crop going?
They're going right. Sammy had a good game last week. I think it was 24 disposals, 2 goals. Luke Traynor was about 17 or 18 disposals. He looks very comfortable at AFL level, which is pleasing. I think selfishly, Richmond supporters would love to see Lawler get a lot more centre bounce attendances, but there's obviously a progressional thing for that because he hasn't had a full footy preseason before, so they don't want to burn him out. But his kicking skills are just unbelievably good, as you would expect from a number 1 pick, obviously. But yeah, he's good, and we've still got a few more coming through in the VFL as well. Smiley just had his first VFL hit out on the weekend. He got through, I think, about a half, and then they took him off. He had about 10 or 12 touches. I think he went at 100% efficiency as well. So he might still be a week or 2 away potentially. But yeah, he was looking good too.
What about the others, like your Hottons, those, who else? You got 8 first round draft picks. I can't even remember them all, but are they playing in the VFL? Are some of them injured? Do you expect to see them in soon?
The only one that's injured is Taj Hottons. He did his ACL, I think it was maybe round 3 for Sandringham Dragons in the draft year. And even Sam Lawler said that if it wasn't for injury, that Taj could have gone number 1 or 2. That's how talented he is. And so he'll be back about May or June, roughly, in the VFL. The other guys, Jasper Elgar, who we took really late, had a pretty good 3 or 4 weeks in the VFL. Jonty Fall was one of our first key forward that we took. He come back from back injuries, and he's had about 2 or 3 games. Loves to smash packs. It's going to be really fun watching him at AFL level, just crashing into blokes. And Tom Sims, he's been playing VFL from the start, and he could be the one that sneaks up the order to get a game next because he can ruck and play forward as well. It depends on matchups. And funnily enough, this game could have been one of those games had Luke Jackson not been injured, and if potentially Sean Darcy come in, if he had two proper rucks, I think it might have maybe forced our hand a little bit.
Yeah, that's fortunate for you guys that Luke Jackson's out, because the form he's been in has been ridiculous. He just gets better every week. I'm in awe of the player that he is. So athletic. He does things that a ruckman shouldn't be able to do. So good at ground level, covers the ground so well, so mobile. So without him, that's probably the biggest point of contention now, because Toby Nankervis has been one of the best rucks over the past 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. A really experienced ruck that's still in his prime. Do you think Nankervis is going to be like a key pillar for you guys on Sunday?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it depends on who comes in. Is Sean Darcy fully fit and coming in? I heard he played in the waffle, but I don't know if he got through okay, if he's fully fit or what's his status.
Yeah, I feel like they're sort of hesitant to put him straight back in, like, because he's been in and out for so long. I don't think we just want to chuck him back in if he's like even that slight bit underdone. We sort of want to bring him back in at 100%. And I feel like, with no disrespect, and I don't think this is going to be an easy game by any means, but I feel like a lower side on the ladder like Richmond. No disrespect, I've always loved the Tigers, but I feel like that might be one where they go, they might go Liam Reedy, might give him a game to I don't know, give Darcy a bit more time.
Like, if you look at your midfield and how experienced and how good they are, if I'm Fremantle, I'm backing my midfield in to outspread and outrun our midfield. And what we've found lately is a lot of opposition midfields are sharking the taps from Nank anyway. But even if Sean Darcy did play and he was underdone, I think the common vibe with Richmond people is we reckon Nank's going to would work him into the ground just if he's not fully fit. And I don't know much about Liam Reedy, but if he comes in, Nank has to try and seize the moment to take control of the game in some way, shape, or form. The problem is I don't know if our mids will be up to the same level, because your mids are very good. Like Caleb Sarong had about 38 last week. Brayshaw's a jet. So just because Nank might dominate the hit out perspective or around the ground doesn't always equate to getting clearances, unfortunately.
Yeah, our midfield really has come into its own in the last, in that Bulldogs game particularly. Caleb Sarong had his highest ever rated game, which is crazy. Like, we've seen him play some freakish games over the years. But yeah, 38 clearances, 38 disposals, 15 clearances, and Andy Brayshaw played one of the best games I've ever seen him play as well. So they're in real top form. Hayden Young's coming back into the side this week as well, and he's probably the best out of the lot of them. We sort of have lacked, since he's been injured, that burst from stoppage player that can really damage in the front half. Like, Sarong does his best work around stoppages. Brayshaw does his best work around the ground with his hard running and the pressure that he brings and turning defence into attack. Loves an intercept and sort of gets the handball chains going. But Hayden Young's that player that drifts forward and really picks teams apart with that left shoe that he has. So, yeah, Hayden Young back in's handy. Nathan O'Driscoll goes out. He's been in really good form. That's one that really sucks to see, because he's been playing career best footy. So he's out. Corey Wagner's out. So there will be some magnets shuffled around this week. What about you guys? How are you looking coming into this game?
I read various rumours today that Camden McIntosh might have a foot complaint. I haven't seen anything official from the club, but he's probably been acting as our tag or shutdown player for parts of games, not for all game, which is a little bit weird. But the big contentious one's Noah Bolter. So his suspension's ended. He's now available for selection. The big question is, will the club pick him to play? Obviously, there's a train of thought that do they wait until the hearings happened? My train of thought is he hasn't played a game of footy at all in any capacity for 6 weeks. And whilst he's been training really well and really hard, there's one thing to be training fit and there's another thing to be match fit. And he's about 5 weeks behind everyone else in the competition from being match fit and match hardened. And it's interesting because we're not playing to make finals this year. Realistically, we're not going to be that good. So I really don't know which way Uze's going to go. He mentioned the word selection integrity in his press conference. Maybe my interpretation of integrity differs to his, but I wouldn't pick him personally. But if Camden McIntosh is out and they do want to go with Bolter, that will be the only real change. I don't think anyone else was injured, which was good.
How did you guys go against Brisbane? Because I was sort of watching bits and pieces of it at the pub. And every time I looked up, it was like, oh, there's another good moment from a young player. But you sort of were, a few kicks behind all day. But, you guys have been a lot better than people thought you were going to be this year. I know you had a tough loss in Adelaide, but that win against Carlton, you're sort of competing better than I thought.
Yeah, the Carlton win was just good to get the monkey off the back because we were a chance to go a long way without winning a game. The Brisbane game was good. They're obviously an exceptional side, and they put us to the sword pretty early. In the second quarter in particular, they were just running rampant through the middle. Their midfield's ridiculous, and just their experience and class shone. And to be fair, they probably took the foot off late in the third and the fourth quarter. But what was good to see was our young kids didn't drop their heads at the scoreline. Like we were 51 points down in the third quarter and then outscored them 7-3. So that was really impressive because the week prior against St Kilda, in a similar situation, we rolled over and they doubled the margin, which is what you don't want to see. Like we don't go into games expecting to win, as awful as that sounds. That's just the reality of where we're at. But what we do expect is to see effort and intensity for 4 quarters. And when you do that, teams might get pushed some weeks. You might jag a win here and there if you get lucky. But yeah, it's just all about the effort and intensity. And like you said, the young kids showing something is pretty much what we're holding on to each week at the moment.
Yeah, you got to bring that effort and intensity for 4 quarters. That's what I've really realised with our poor start. Like, that's got to be a prerequisite if you're going to win any game of footy. And that's what the Tigers of old were so great at, was just bringing that heat for 4 quarters. And that's what your premierships are sort of built off the back of. Is there any confidence from your end that you're going to get up, or if there's any area of the ground that you think you might have the upper hand on us?
Weirdly enough, on our Monday night live show, all three of us tipped Richmond, and we don't usually do that. We're usually pretty blunt. It's just because it's in Adelaide that we're like, oh, maybe we might be a sneaky chance. Who knows? But Freo is seriously, I thought, a top 4 contender this year. I know your first couple of games might not have reflected that, but I think you're going to get back on the horse really quick. Our biggest concern with you is the midfield. I think we're going to get obliterated there, and that could spell the end of the game. Our defense holds up really well, despite what some of the score lines say. Ben Miller's actually defending really well. Nathan Broad defends well. It's largely because our midfield haven't been working hard both ways, and there's just been easy inside 50 from the OPPO midfielders. And I don't think many defenders could stop some of the entries we give up. So I think, yeah, our best hope is to try and curb your influence and restrict the score that way. But the counterpoint is your midfield might smash us that much that you might get too many inside 50s that it won't matter. Up forward for us, my concern with your back line is if we let Luke Ryan just do as he pleases and sit back and get those chip kicks across to switch out of defence. We've got to make him accountable. Maybe it could be like a Harry Armstrong job, or Jacob Bauer if he plays, or Jacob Blight. Yeah, we have to try and be smart there too, because otherwise he will just set everything up and we won't touch the ball when it's moved out of the back line.
We're sort of maturing now. We're still a young side ourselves, but we're probably, 4 years ahead of where you guys are in terms of the rebuild. So Heath Chapman off halfback as well does a pretty similar role to Luke Ryan with the ball in hand when he gets in those areas. Geordie Clark can do the same. So I think we're going to have too many angles of attack, whether it's off halfback, whether it's just straight out of the middle, and you got to contain Josh Tracy, and I don't know if you guys have that. And if you contain Josh Tracy, can you contain Paddy Voss? Can you contain Jai Amos, I think? And then not even mentioning your man Shea Bolton and young Murphy Reid, who are in great form. So I think there's going to be headaches all over the field for you, and I think we get a comfortable win would be nice. A little 40-point job would be lovely.
I don't think it's that far of a stretch to think that. I mean, looking at the matchups, I think we might go okay on Tracy if we can team defend well enough. But like I said before, I really don't know who we would send to Bolton when he goes forward or when he's in the midfield. I had written down Nick Vlosten. I'm not fully sold on that myself just because of the speed factor. Bolton's got obviously a crazy amount of speed. Broad's without being disrespectful to Broad, he's too old. The Broad of 3 years ago could have maybe done the job. Can't do it now, I don't think. Luke Trainers would be a wonderful learning experience for him. He'll have the size, but I'm not sure, again, the speed. Jaden Short, I'm not sure if he's accountable enough. So, yeah, I'm glad that I've got Shea Bolton in my Supercoach draft team. Let's put it that way.
Are you still going to tip Richmond?
No, the more I look at the matchups and think about it, like I think we'll hang tough for a half. It would take an extraordinary set of circumstances, like with Jackson out. If Darcy doesn't play, it would take Nankervis to have the game of a lifetime if our midfielders to be on the same page as him for 4 quarters to be any type of chance. But I just think Fremantle have got far too much talent on all parts of the ground that are, you guys are already past that 50, 60, 70 game mark with a lot of your youngsters. So they're really entrenched in the AFL system and they're at a whole new level. And like I said, I've felt that Freo will be a top 4 team if they can get it to collectively click, especially with the addition of Bolton. So yeah, I think I'll expect us to stick tough for a half, but I do think Freo will get the chocolates at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. We got Melbourne the week after, so hopefully start banking the wins. But we're not taking this lightly. Like Richmond have shown the ability to compete at parts of every game that you've played this year. Even in that St Kilda game, I thought you guys played pretty well in the first half before it got blown out. And yeah, you're showing signs. So this AFL competition is as close as ever. We're definitely not taking it lightly, but yeah, we're at the point where we need to start banking 4 points. And I hope Josh Tracy's licking his lips, thinking he's going to kick 5.
And like similar to Brisbane Lions, from a Fremantle perspective, this just needs to be a workman-like performance, right? Like you guys know that you're a good side, and you're going to probably be finals bound, and we're at the complete opposite end of the football cycle. So we'll have a crack though. We'll try and make life difficult, but I just think it's just one of those matter of time things. Like whether it's this third quarter, fourth quarter, whatever it is, you just keep it at arm's reach. Yeah, as long as we see some positivity, some young kids doing some good things.
As a club that has not had premiership success, I just wanted to ask you, how has the 3 premierships changed not only your club but your life as a Richmond supporter?
It was really unexpected 2017. I mean, Adelaide were by far and away the best team all year in home and away anyway. They were smashing teams by 50 points after half time. So to win that was just I truthfully never thought I would see a Richmond grand final appearance, let alone a win in my lifetime. So it was just an amazing day, an amazing feeling. And when you compare to where we are right now, if we didn't win those 3 premierships, how we are tracking right now would feel a whole lot different, because you can kind of reflect back to not long ago where we were good, and you can understand it's a bit of a cycle. You've got to drop off at some point. You rebuild and go again. But if we were heading towards the 40-year mark without a flag, then this becomes a bit more difficult to take and understand. So it's been, yeah, I think it keeps things in perspective a bit. And the other thing it's made me realise too is they're hard to win. Like I know that seems like a Captain Obvious statement, but the back-to-back one in particular, you look at Collingwood won one recently, didn't get anywhere near back-to-back. Geelong haven't. West Coast didn't. Like it. It's really hard to do. And I think I get a greater appreciation of how hard it was to win that 2021 up in Queensland. But yeah, it is. Ultimately, you end up spending a shitload of money on merchandise, right? That's the bottom line. You buy frames, you buy hats, everything that you don't even think you need to own. You just buy shit. That's what it's all about as a supporter.
Yeah, I hope my bank account's looking a bit depleted at the end of September then. I appreciate you hopping on, Chris. It's been a good chat. For those that don't know, Chris has a YouTube channel, the Tiger Cast, which is affiliated with Big Footy. So for all your Tigers needs, for whatever reason you may need them, Chris is your man. Thanks for joining the OPPO View tonight, Chris.
No worries, mate. Thank you for jumping on behind front of your lines. Good fun to have you on, and may the best team win, although I do think you will walk away a much happier person than I will on Sunday. It's a shame we can't go, being in Adelaide, but yeah, it'd be weird watching both teams run around in a state that neither of us live in.
Strange picture, but yeah, should be fun. Cheers, mate.